Nick's family is shown at the start of the film series. There's going on the birthday event of Nick's mother. They were all excited. Suddenly, Nick's sister Pia starts showing her anger because Nick had replaced the gift of his mother, and he had not shared about this plan to Pia. Then Pia thinks that it will be the plan of Nick's wife Sophie, and Sophie has committed it deliberately. So Pia begins to show her anger on Sophie. Nick infuriates Pia, seeing it, and he asks her to leave the house. So Pia feels irritation on this. After this, she moves to club and takes alcohol too much. After it, Pia talks with a boy on an app. That boy has revealed his fake name, while his real name is different. They are still talking with each other. Then Pia's mobile is dropped into the toilet. Now Pia thinks to repair her mobile. She puts her cell phone in a box and closes it. Next day, Pia is working in the hospital. Then Pia's friend shows her a video. When Pia watches that video, then it does not belong to anyone but of her brother Nick. He has caught a signboard. He has stated on it, "I have abused a girl. I will commit suicide if this video crosses 5 million. First of all, Pia was taking it as a fun. Then Pia comes to know from others while asking that her brother named Nick is really missing. So Nick tells the wife of Nick named Sophie about this video. So they both move to the police officers. Going there, Pia meets a detective, and he is the same boy with whom Pia had talked through an app, who has given his fake name. Now the detective interrogates from both about Nick, and he counsels them, "We will soon discover Nick." Then Pia says to the detective to delete that video. At first sight, this news is spread throughout the city. The views were also increasing on TV with it. Afterwards, Pia's cell phone has also begun to work. When she checks her mobile, then she comes to know that her brother Nick had sent her a voice message last night, where Nick was asking apology from Pia about the last night incident. Nick tells her that there was something continuing in my mind, and I also wanted to share about it to all of you. Now Pia had also noticed that Nick has been behaving strangely for many days, and he was also worried on something, whereas Pia had tried her best to talk with Nick about it, but Nick had revealed nothing. After this, a new video of Nick is also appeared. At this time, there was written on the signboard that "I have killed one of the girl," but Pia observes this handwriting does not match with Nick's writing. It was clear that Nick had been kidnapped, and someone was manipulating Nick, but those detectives were suspecting Nick. Then Pia is provoked on this and begins to infuriate, but it does not affect them, and they were listening quietly. After this, Pia tells about that voice message to Sophie, and she says that we should inform about it to police station. But Sophie forbids her while saying, "Police is already suspecting Nick, and they may be caught in trouble by this voice message." Now police were doing nothing to detect Nick, so they had to do what was needed to do. So Pia moves to her friend in order to ask help for her, who was computer expert, because he had a lot of knowledge of computer. Pia's friend makes a software. He was trying to search for Nick with the help of people. Pia's friend reveals to her that we have known after checking both videos, that both videos have been made in the delivery van. At the same time, Nick's friend approaches there. After this, they both go to the detective together. Now they try to track the delivery man. Pia checks that views are increasing very quickly, and the video crosses the 5 million views. Meanwhile, detective tells Pia that we have found van. Now they check that van while going there, because Nick is not there. Now Nick was missing from there, and there was no knowledge about him, so the sergeant says to them, "Now we will tackle this case like a murder case." Then that detective says to an agent, "Let me work in this case matter," but that agent directly refuses for this. After this, they go to check the room of Nick, where that detective gets the iPad of Nick. Using it, Nick's son was trying to track him through an app. The area in which they track Nick, they mark that area through which they come to know which area is suited to track Nick and which area is unsuitable. After this, detective tells Pia, "I am not handling this case but that agent." He says to Pia, "I want to help you but I cannot." Now that detective tells here to sergeant that I have got some messages from the cell phone of Nick's son. It has been cleared that there was going on some disturbance between Nick and Sophie, and there was a dispute between them on any matter. Sergeant tells detective that Nick's family has requested that you should be included in this case, so you can also work in this matter. Next day, Pia receives the message of that detective because she wanted to show him something, and she also reveals to that detective about the voice message. When that detective asks Sophie about it, she tells that there was not clash between me and Nick but Nick and Pia, and who knows that he was discussing about this in his voice message. Then that detective asks Pia about it. Then Paya tells him that it was the minor dispute of siblings. Then Paya also tells him that Nick had visited the hospital exactly after a day of birthday, because he was injured and someone had beaten him. When that detective checks that date, then he comes to know that Nick had visited a bar that night. After it, detective checks the CCTV recorded video. Going there, detective knows through it that Nick had disputed with man in bar that night. That man had beaten him. After it, that detective also shows this footage to Paya. Detective tells her here, this man may be suspected. Who knows, that man may have abducted Nick. Afterwards, detective tells agent, if we overlook the area of traffic, there is still left an area in the city. It has not been discovered by us. After this, these people move there and start checking that place, where they discover the body of Nick, but he was no more. Then detective reveals to Paya about the death of her brother. Now they wanted to detect the murder of Nick. Later, detective checks the private account of Sophie, where they find the photo of a man with Sophie, who was her friend, and this man was not anyone else, but he was that person who had hit Nick in the bar. So detective and that agent ask Sophie about it. Sophie tells here that he is my friend. He was a teacher in my school as a colleague with me, and I have met him before 6 months. Then Sophie tells her mother about it, that police suspects that my friend is behind this crime. It is his fault if he has really committed it. Later, Sophie sends a message to her friend, that I want to meet you. Then Sophie goes to meet her friend. Sophie's friend reveals here that I had been called to meet by Nick, and he tells a lie here that I have been beaten by Nick. Then police reach there and leave after arresting both of them. After this, detective and agent begin to interrogate Sophie. Then Sophie tells here, we were not only friends but also beloveds. Later, I had told Nick about this relationship. I had also broken up with my friend, but my friend was damn serious about this relationship, so he was aggressive after breakup. Detective and agent tell Sophie here that we have checked your friend's computer data. He was tracking Nick. If we get the evidence against your friend, then your relation will have to be exposed before public. Sophie did not want that her family and kids may know about her relationship. It is revealed on the coming day that Sophie's friend has been arrested in this case. Now Sophie forbids her children to watch this news. Paya begins to doubt Sophia on this action. So Paya investigates Sophie about this. What is going on between both of you? Sophie says on it, it was just my mistake, and I had shared it with Nick and we both were trying that. This matter may be resolved. Meantime, Nick's son hears the conversation of Sophie and Paya. He leaves the house in anger. After it, Sophie goes in search of his son. Then Sophie notices that a lady is chasing her for a long time. Then Sophie catches her. The lady says, my name is Emma and I was in relationship with your husband, and we had met through an app and your husband had revealed his fake identity. At the same time, Sophie receives the call of Paya and she says to her, your son is with me. After this, Sophie also comes to the house of Paya. Sophie tells Paya that I had encountered a lady, and her relationship was with Nick and he had introduced with him on an app, where Nick had revealed his fake identity. Paya checks the fake name profile of Nick, but that profile was not active, but Paya restores that account with the help of her friend. Now Paya tells Sophia that Lady Emma was speaking truth. There was going on the relationship of Nick and Emma in reality. After this, the time of 6 weeks ago is shown, where Emma knows that a man with whom she was introduced on an app, who had revealed his fake identity, he is no more, and the person with whom she had been in relationship for a long time, his real name was Nick. He is married, having 2 kids, but Emma wanted to help Nick's family here, so she meets Sophie, arriving in this city, and she reveals the whole fact to her. After this, Emma meets that detective where she also tells him that I introduced with Nick on an app and we had affections for each other. After this, Emma goes to the sports center where she meets with Nick's friend, and they talk a little bit about Nick here. Later, Nick's friend moves away. After it, Paya goes to Nick's friend, and she asks her, had you already knowledge about the relationship of Nick? Where Nick's friend tells Paya, a lady named Emma had come to meet me recently. Where Paya goes to a hotel to meet Emma. Emma exposes here to Paya, I and your brother were fallen in love with each other, and your brother was not satisfied with his married life, and he had also said to me, when his son's high school study will be over then I will divorce Sophie. I was just helping him in his issue. Paya goes away. Hearing it, Emma receives a call of unknown person, and that person immediately asks Emma to leave this city. Emma also calls police, but she herself had scared, so she escapes leaving hotel. At the same time, a car chases her and Emma faces the accident. Afterwards, Emma is brought to the hospital where she reveals the whole story to detective. Meanwhile, Pia also arrives there. Then detective tells Pia, Emma is not only girl who was in relationship with your brother. There are rather two more girls like her. It is told to Emma by Pia that you were not only one but there were two more girls who were in the relationship with my brother, and Nick used to meet different girls through that app. One of the girls' name was Mandy. Then Emma goes to meet her after getting details about her. Being dejected, Emma tells her friend, Nick had promised me the same which had been promised with Mandy. So Emma decides to expose Nick before everyone. So Emma contacts a reporter. Then that reporter interviews Emma. Emma tells him Nick traps the different girls on an app. After this, the reporter shows this interview to his senior reporters. The reporter says, we had knowledge that Nick used to entrap the girls, and we have to detect it either Nick killed any of those girls. So that report asks the other reporter to interview Sophie. Then that reporter talks with Sophie's friend about Sophie, but they forbid them to do so. Now that reporter enters Sophie's house, disguising a delivery man, but he is caught. That reporter tells Sophie here that Emma has revealed the whole truth to the reporters. Being aggressive, Emma goes to the senior reporter, accompanying her lawyer. Sophie says to that reporter, stop taking the interview of Emma. That reporter says, we cannot do as such. And she says to Sophie, if you interview us, then we will not play the interview of Emma. Sophie agrees on this. Later, other reporter tells his friend, we have known the two profiles of Nick till now. He will have many more. After this, reporter checks an article on the website of Nick's college. Then that reporter checks that a student has commented there, where she had written, no matter how you appreciate Nick, but you don't know about him till now. That reporter goes to the Nick's friend to know about it, and he collects information from her about it. Then the girl tells the reporter, I had witnessed my friend named Tara and Nick. Exactly after this, Tara had left that team. Later, that reporter goes to Tara, but Tara does not reveal a single fact to him. Then that reporter's friend tells one more Nick's profile have been got. They get information about a girl when they check the account, where the girl had also written her fake identity. After this, they reach a bookshop, witnessing that photo, where that reporter comes to know that that girl's real name was Sarah, and that girl committed suicide before 4 months. When that reporter checks about Sarah, then he comes to know that Sarah has also a brother named Simon. After this, that reporter moves to the house of Simon, and he begins to examine her house and gets the cell phone of Sarah. At the same time, Sarah's brother Simon appears on it, but that reporter is succeeded to escape from there. When that reporter checks the Sarah's mobile, then he gets the messages of Sarah and Nick. Reporter knows here that Sarah was upset because of the breakup of Nick, so she committed suicide. Then the reporter shows these messages to his senior reporter, and he says that I will interview Sophie. After this, that reporter interviews Sophie, where he tells Sophie there was also another girl named Sarah. He was in relationship with Nick. She has committed suicide before 4 months. Reporter shows the messages of both of them to Sophie. Sophie does not understand anything here. What should she do here? So she moves away silently. After this, Sophie returns to the house, where she does not want that her family may watch her interview. But her family is watching her interview and they know it. But Sarah had committed suicide because of breaking up, and it was Nick who had asked Sarah to do as such. Then the scene before 6 months is shown, where Simon receives a call of his sister Sarah, who was worried. She is weeping. When Simon returns to his home, then he finds Sarah dead there. When Simon checks the mobile of Sarah, then he comes to know that he has done it for his app friend, because Sarah had told to her brother that there is my friend on app, and Simon had also forbidden her keep away from everyone. When Simon checks about that app friend, then he knows that his real name is Nick. So Simon abducts Nick with the help of his friend. After this, Simon's friend comes to him, and he tells him, police has detected everything. How did it happen? Simon tells him a reporter had intruded my house, and he stole Sarah's cell phone. Then a detective begins to investigate Simon coming there. Then Simon says, I know nothing about Sarah and Nick. I never met Nick when everything was happening. Then I had gone along with my friend for fishing. After this, detective goes away. When he checks Simon's profile, then he has posted regarding fishing. Meanwhile, Pia's call is received by that detective. Then detective tells him that I have come here to meet Simon. After this, Pia goes to meet detective, where detective tells her, I think that Simon is hiding something from me. On the other side, Simon and his friend had known that police reached there at any time, so they plan to escape. Next day, when Simon tries to escape, then detective catches him. On the other side, Pia witnesses the escaping Simon's friend and punches him. After this, Detective starts to investigate Simon. Detective says to him, "There is no need to hide. Your friend has revealed all the facts." Simon tells him, "I want to talk Nick's sister Pia." Later, she talks with Simon. Simon tells her, "I caught your brother, considering him sinful, but I did not kill him." Then it is seen that Simon makes Nick's video after abducting him, and he made it viral on the social media. Then Simon says to Nick that my sister meets her end because of you. Nick says on it, "I did nothing. I don't know about your sister." Nick says that someone has tried to entrap me using my photos. "These are not my real photos, but someone has edited my photos." Hearing it, Simon is confused when their video crosses 5 million views. Then Simon's friend says to him, "Kill Nick." Then Nick tries to escape from there, but Simon catches him. Nick again says to him, "I did nothing." Nick says to him, "I give my words to you that who has killed your sister, I will search for him," and gives him in the custody of police. Hearing it, Simon starts to trust in him, so he releases him. Now Pia believes in the story of Simon, but Detective was thinking as Simon is telling a lie to keep himself secure. Afterwards, Pia tells her family that I have talked with Simon, and it is his statement that he has not killed Nick. Pia says, "I think as he is speaking truth, because it may be possible that someone is misusing the photos of Nick to entrap him." Later, it is seen that Nick's elder son is talking with a girl, where he says to a girl, "How will I know that you are really a girl?" So the girl sends her photo to him. After this, Nick's son watches the video of Mandy. Mandy was the same girl who was in relationship with Nick, where the reporters were asking Mandy about Nick. After this, Nick's son contacts Mandy. Next day, Nick's son receives Mandy's mail with statement, "I never met Nick. I know nothing about him." Then it is told Pia by Nick's son. Then they both move to Detective, where Pia knows about it that they are going to close this case. Pia says to Nick's son, "Because case is going to close, we have to do as such as they may start the case investigation again." After this, Pia moves to her friend computer expert. Pia's friend tells her that I have heard something about Nick, that Nick was in relationship with one of his students named Tara. After this, Nick's son sends message to his friend, that I want to meet you. That girl rejects at the beginning. After that, she sends her location to him. Later, Nick's son goes to his friend to meet her. Nick's son reveals to his friend here that it has been tried to entrap Nick and Sarah. If the catfisher is caught, then this fact will be proved, that my father is guiltless. Then that girl says to him, "You should talk Emma, as you are the son of Nick, so she will surely talk to you." After this, they talk with Emma now, where Emma tells Nick's son that I used to talk with your father daily, but I never met with your father. That girl says if the catfisher has sent the photos to Emma, then I can tell after checking from where have they been sent. After this, Pia goes to meet Nick's student. It is known here that Tara's affair was not with Nick but with her friend, so Tara wanted to leave the team but Nick did not want it. So controversy started between them. Tara tells that I had also broken up with Nick's friend. Nick's friend uploaded my photos on the internet to take revenge, and Nick had also suggested me to report of his friend. After this, Pia goes to the support center of Nick, where she wanted to check Nick's friend's computer, but it was secured by password. Then support center manager enters the password in computer. When Pia checks computer, then she gets all detailed data about Nick. After this, Pia tells detective about it, that I have checked the computer of Nick's friend, and the whole data of Nick is there in that computer. Who knows that it has been committed by Nick's friend? On the other side, Emma sends the photos to Nick's son. Then Nick's son sends message to his friend, and he asks him to detect from where these photos has sent. When Pia goes to her house, there is already present the friend of Nick. Pia tells him that I had met Tara. She told me that you had leaked her photos. Then Nick's friend says, "It was my mistake, but I did not harm Nick." Pia says, "I have checked your computer." Nick's friend gets angry on this. After this, when Pia's friend comes there, then Nick's friend goes from there. Then Sophie says to her kids, "We are going to leave this city." Sophie's younger son is angered on this, and he goes away. Then Sophie's elder son tells that I have talked with Emma, and it is the saying of Emma that he did not meet with father. After it, he shows Emma's video call to his mother Sophie, and it is also heard by the younger son of Sophie. After this, he checks his brother's computer. Message is received of his brother's friend, in which she had sent the location of catfisher. When Sophie checks the room of his younger son, then he is not there. When Sophie's elder brother checks the computer, he comes to know that, where had his brother gone? On the other side, Sophie's younger brother comes to a house while tracking the location. His elder brother tries to call him here, but he does not attend the call. His elder brother sends him message to come back from there. That place is dangerous, but his brother does not obey him, and he moves to the house, but the house does not belong to anyone but Sports Center manager, who resides there along with her husband. Now they both understand it. Why has Nick's son come here? So the manager calls Nick's son inside the room. Nick so understands here that he is in danger, so he tells a lie that my mother knows that I have come here. But Donnie's husband keeps the gun in his possession to kill Nick's son. After this, the time before 2 years is shown when Nick had visited Sports Center for the first time, where Nick asks Donnie to change the password of computer. At the same time, Nick receives the message of Mandy. Donnie reads it, and she thinks how good the life of Nick is going on. So Donnie was committing it to entrap the girls after making the fake ID on Nick's account. Actually, she wanted to know which feelings come after taking the identity of Nick, such a man who is liked by everyone. Once Donnie's husband knows about this reality, her husband says to her, "Stop all of this," but it was too late. After this, Sophie and Pia move to the house of Donnie, but there's no one at home because they all had left the house. After this, they both move to the house and come to know that there was Donnie behind all scene or what was happening. Meanwhile, Detective also reaches there. Pia tells him that the password of Nick's computer had been given to me by Donnie, who knows the data of Nick had been stored in his friend's computer by Donnie. Then they detect the car location of Donnie. Meanwhile, Sophie's son tries to contact with his mother, but Donnie throws cell phone outside while grabbing it. Then they take Sophie's son at a place. They lock him, taking him outside. Donnie says to her husband, "I did not commit it to harm anyone, and I will reveal everything to police. I should only be punished for this. After this, we will take a new start of our life, because no one witnessed Nick to come to our house." After this, it is seen that Nick had come to Donnie's house after escaping from Simon, and he says to Donnie, "Sarah committed suicide because of you, and I will reveal the whole fact to police going there." At the same time, Donnie's husband kills Nick. Afterwards, it is seen that Nick's son is escaped from there in some way. Donnie and her husband chase him. They fire their gun at him, but he remains safe. Later, Donnie's husband captures Nick's son, but Donnie is caught by the police. Then Donnie tells police that Nick's son is along with my husband. After this, she brings her husband to the police. After this, police also arrest Donnie's husband. Detective says to Donnie's husband here. Detective says to Donnie's husband, "Surrender yourself." So Donnie's husband releases Nick's son. Donnie asks her husband to drop the gun, but he does not act as such. So Detective fires his gun at him. Due to this, he is died. After this, Pia leaves, accompanying with his family.